How to cut grass. This is our bread and butter. Remember, it's not how fast you mow, it's how well you mow fast. We're going to start with the infield, but you can't get to this level of greatness until you master the infield game with the small push mower. Let's get started. So here's how we do the small mowing for the infields. This is our handy dandy Toro GLL motor, sponsored by Gilos on Teutonia. If you follow me around back this way, there's a few things you got to know how to use. First is the bag. Always bag unless you seed. You come from the top and you take it off. You let that sit over here. Now, one of our most important features is our rollers. Bit expensive, so you got to take care of them. You put your thumb here right on the top of the joint, and then you lift up. That keeps it taut so you can get it off. Here's what you're going to do first. If you want to cut around the outside, all the edges first, give yourself a border, because that border is going to keep you in line. The key is knowing your machine. I know that my mower blows grass to the right, so I'm going to cut with the dirt on the left. You don't want grass on the infield, that's how you get weeds. Might be asking yourself, that was kind of quick. Let me reiterate, it's not how well you mow, it's how well you mow fast. Now you might have noticed a key tip thing I did there. I run the wheels on the outside edge. That's how you make sure you're getting every blade of grass. But be careful, you gotta have smooth edges. But we'll get to that later. You just want it to be the same height as your foot. Bad example, because that's not the same height as my foot. Most important parts of edging is cleanup. Not only do you have to rake all the grass up into piles, but you got to backfill it so that it's flat and smooth. This is what you call lip. The lip's got to be even with the ground so that you don't trip. Now, something that I always tell my guys is, don't make jiv piles. Tell me, what's a jiv pile? What's a jiv pile? Good question. Jiv pile is when you got either too many small piles right in a row, gets tedious to pick up, or you have one big pile that you can't pick up with one shovel. Don't make jiv piles. You might ask why they're called jiv piles, but one time I had this worker and he made all sorts of jiv piles. They were too small, too big, but it sucked. So don't make jiv piles. So now we're ready to start mowing. Follow me this way. This is how you want your setup done. Notice I have all my tools in place. That's going to be for efficiency. Here now, I can reach over. I balance my little hook here, right? You got to balance it. So that I can easily put my lawn striping device on. Efficiently, I can reach through and grab my bag. And I'm ready to go. One of the most important steps is how you start. You got to get lined up. Do you notice how my mower is lined up with home plate, the pitcher's mound, second base, and all the way to 315? That's how I know I'm going to make a straight line. Watch. Other tidbits you might need to know. What height do I want to cut at? Well, in the beginning of the season and in the off season, you're probably going to start at about a 3. What is a 3, you ask? Well, these notches on the back correspond with numbers. This is 1, 2, 3, and so on. We only do 2s and 3s. Beginning of the year, we'll start at 3, we'll work our way down to 2. Here now we're in the postseason, we're staying at 2 indefinitely, because that's when it looks the best, nice and smooth. And if you want to be an expert like me, you got to realize that the surface isn't entirely flat. It's generally flat, but there are still hills mixed within. So you got to know where to keep your line. If you come follow me around here, you can see with this mower that the front wheel and the back wheel are lined up. They're parallel. They're in the same line. So when I mow, I try and keep my two wheels on the same two wheels that I came cutting back. Now, you might also notice just from these first two things, a little cloudy today. The first line I did went out, and that's lightly colored because it's bending the grass away from you. When I come back, it's dark because the grass is pointing at you, so you see into the soil. So now my next line going straight out, I gotta follow that line perfectly. I can't mow over the mound, so I gotta go around it. These are just the tips and tricks you have to learn with experience. And so now I'm done cutting, and wouldn't you know, perfect timing, the sun comes out, it can highlight what I've done. Eventually you can learn the tools of the trade, and maybe your field will look like this. Notice the stripes, they're all straight.